A very good afternoon, guys, and assalamu alaikum. How are you? Hope you're all fine and having that adrenaline rush and passion to learn web application design and development, right? You should have that passion, because that passion is something that lets you practice hard and hard and hard unless you become familiar with all the techniques and all the professional techniques, right? Techniques include many things: the alignment of sections, right? The combination of colors. So it's basically a huge journey, a long journey that we'll have to go through, and we have a very specific amount of time. So you guys need to cooperate with me, right? And do as I say. Practice hard is the only requirement from my side and nothing else. Practice so that you remember the code. You don't have to see the video again and again, right? So unless you remember what is happening, right? And practice different things. Try and copy try and copy the design, right? And make a nice website design using MS Paint or Photoshop, and then try and imitate that and copy that. Will make you a professional, inshallah, right? And something that we've done so far is we have created a folder, HTML website, and this is also known as the root folder. And inside that we have created a .html file known as home.html, and we have a folder styles, which contains only one, because we had a spelling mistake, okay, which contains our default.css file, and IMGS, which is IMGS folder, which is completely empty at this moment in time, right? But we are going to fill it with images as soon as possible, and maybe in the next class, or maybe in the following class, right? So let us go and see the source code that we have written so far. Right, we understood so far that HTML5 has given us some options wherein we can write headers, navigations, and sections directly, right? And footers, right? So we know that a website starts with a header, it ends with a footer, right? And the second thing that we have learned about some specific things which are, the trademark of HTML5 is this doc type HTML, and this lang is equivalent to en, which is the language selected to English, and meta char set. And I said meta char set is meta is basically a keyword, or meta tag is used to store information about certain information. Since we know that the website is only information, and this meta will take and store information regarding this website, and it can also provide information to the website, like we are telling that use the character encoding set UTF-8, which is the most recent, right, to read encoded strings and every single thing, right? Okay, let's get started with today's lesson. Alright, what we have learned so far is header, then we created navigation for menu bar, and we created a blank section which has absolutely nothing. Alright, and today I'll show you some more things, like we have aside. Alright, so I will close aside div, right? Okay. Right, as you asked, that whenever we open any div, we are defining the div thereby. And why do we close it, right? So let me show you an example. For example, if I close h1, if I start h1 and I close h1, which is the header div right here, and I write welcome to, we can say, study @home, right? And now you can see right here, or let me basically run this. We haven't run it. Okay, now you can see welcome to student @home. I had to write study. Welcome to study @home, and when I refresh it, you can see welcome to study @home has appeared. Okay, now if I do not close it, or let us say it follows an h2 tag, and I will write the same string in the h2 tag as well, and close h2 tag, right? So now we are having two tags, one is h1 and another is h2 tag. Okay, and as you can see, the more serially you go up right, the more smaller font you may get, or the smaller font in headings, smaller font in headings you may get, right? So let us see H3. So you can see H3, H2 is much bigger than H3, and H1 is much bigger than H2. That's not my point. That's not my point. My point is, if I have defined H1 here, why do I close it here, right? Right, because I am defining H1 as a header tag, and now I say that this text inside H1 tag should be treated as a heading, right? So if I do not close it, right, so what will happen if I don't close it? Let us see, right? Or let us write something here. Let's say let us create a paragraph here, P, right, and let us say hello, right? So let us see now. Now what has happened is it has overridden the paragraph as well, because it is never ending. You have started and it is not ended, right? It is taking this paragraph also inside this H1 tag. It is taking everything inside the H1 tag, including the footer, if you can see right here. Right? If I do not close it, the string here is going to be treated as H1 tag, the paragraph starting and the paragraph ending, and everything that is going to come, right? Even after the footer, if you write something, it will be treated as paragraph tag, right? So that is why defining the boundaries in HTML is very important. So you'll have to define the start and the end. Why? Because how does the browser know, right, what comes inside H1 tag? Only when you close the H1 tag or any paragraph tag will your browser come to know that this is within the boundaries of H1, starting from here to here, right? And as you know that it's not like Java or any other C++ or C programming language. Those programming languages are compiled, and you can check at the time of compilation, you get compile time error and you're notified. Your program will not run unless you compile, unless the compilation is successful. But HTML is not compiled, it's interpreted by the browser. Interpreted means that if the first line is okay, goes to the second line. If the second line is okay, goes to the third line. So it is interpreted, at runtime. It's not compiled, right? And it is basically a synchronous process rather than an asynchronous process, right? For example, if there is something wrong here, I don't close this UL, right? So let's say I'm not closing this UL. What will happen? All right, you can see this. So this not closing this UL is not going to affect the rest of the things. Why? Because you have defined allies here. Now because you are closing an ally here, right? And even if you are not closing, but yeah, some cross-browser compatibility issues will come when you try and launch the website online and host the website online using HTTP protocol. So there are going to be some cross-compatibility issues as well, right? Okay. I suppose you understood this logic, right? So anything that opens gets closed, right? Why? And similar is with this CSS tag, right? So if I open style tag, if I don't close it, everything will be treated as style. If I say style tag open and I'm not closing the style tag, what is going to happen? Nothing is coming, nothing is visible. Now everything in here is treated as CSS rather than being treated as HTML, right? Because you have to close the style tag. So just finish it up, and after when you close, right? So boundaries are very important in HTML, right? So do not forget your boundaries, and anything that opens, yeah, the moment you open it, you are defining it's already defined, right? But defined till how long it will go. How long will it go? Will it override every single thing following? No. If you close it properly, it's not going to override anything. It's going to provide you the luxury of defining boundaries. So that's why we define boundaries, because a website may contain many different things like headers, navigation, sidebars, menu bars, footers, right, text boxes, buttons, and every single thing that you see during your day-to-day life using Facebook, Twitter, and Gmail, and any other website that we regularly use. So far you understood that anything that opens gets closed. So that was not my topic. Someone has asked this question, so I thought someone asked it during the conversation, so I thought it would be better if I clear the doubts before I move ahead. And I have already told you, if you're having any doubts, please mention your doubts in the comment section. I'll be very obliged to reply, and I'll be replying very soon, so that you don't lose the charm of asking questions. So I'll at least try and reply as soon as possible. Okay. And the second thing that we are going to start with today is aside. And I said aside is a definition meant for sidebar. So I told you the last time that let me show you again. Okay, now I have this Java class here. I told you the last time, if this is your section of the website, the section of the website may contain headers, it may contain footer, right? And it may contain some sidebars as well. Maybe you have a sidebar here. Maybe you are developing a web application for, let's say, about hospital. It's a very renowned hospital that you are developing web application for, and you require all the notifications to scroll here in the sidebar, and everything else will come here, including the menu bar and all the navigation links. And this sidebar is required for the latest notifications and updates of the hospital, right? Maybe your hospital requires to give updates on COVID-19, right? So these are going to be COVID-19 updates right here. How many are tested today? Because hospital is meant to keep any pandemic or any epidemic knowledge, or we can say information online, so that it reaches out to the public. So you require a sidebar for that, and this aside is basically meant for that, and every aside can also have, that is the magic of HTML5 here. Look at the magic of HTML5, what they have given us, and every aside can have header and footer tags in it. Alright, so every aside can have header and footer tags in it, right? So header can have aside can have header, aside can have footer. So let's not have basically the header here. Let us have let's say about h4 tag h4. So let us say world locks down, right? And this is the heading, and I'll go here outside it, and I can say and the paragraph inside it, inside the aside, right? So there, the epidemic has led the world sit back homes, right? So this is something maybe you require, because a website is basically only a website when it has content. Now if someone will come up and ask you, right, the define website, so you will say website is a collection of web pages. Now what is web page? A web page is a collection of information, content, right? Content is what makes a website, and website is what makes internet. Always remember that content is what makes website. That's what we teach to our digital marketers, that how to create effective content, right? So IT is very interesting thing, because it teaches you, it trains you on fighting for solutions rather than crying for problems, right? So we IT professionals should always seek solutions. We don't discuss problems, right? And for as long as a website is concerned, the website is also a solution being provided to any company or industry, right? So that people, rather than visiting them physically, can visit them from any place in the world, right? So your website is made up of web pages, and a web page is made up of content, and content is meant to be designed and decorated in such a manner that it stops that eye of someone who's visiting your website and says, hey, this is something really professional, right? The professional your website, the more professional customers you can get, right? So let me show you this. Now, world locks down, the epidemic has led the world sit back home. So let me not have due here, so let me have it without a paragraph, because okay, now you can see the epidemic has led the world sit back homes, okay? Or we can even have it in the let me have some break lines here. Alright, so the epidemic has let the world set back home. You will say, hey sir, you said that it is a sidebar. But I already said in lecture number 1 that we are not going to concentrate on positioning. We are going to understand, the structure first. We are going to understand, the designing elements that we are going to use, right? Like we have divs, we have sections, we have asides. Right, and then we will focus once we are familiar with what to use, and then we will see how to use them, how to position them. Right, positioning is going to be the job of CSS here, and once we start positioning, you will just feel and realize the magic of HTML5 and CSS3. But so far you have to get it. So let me also document footer. Right, so reported by, right, so this is my footer. Right, so now this is my aside, this is my complete aside. Let me give again a break line here, so that BR. Now one may ask, why is BR self-closing tag? Because BR does not take anything. It's a self-closing tag because it does not take anything inside, right? BR means BR, so why should I keep it separate? But because H4 is meant to take some data, that's why I have to give space, so that header tag and divs and sections and asides and footers take the data. Alright, so now you can see this is your aside right here. Right, so remember what we have learned so far. We have learned the header tags, the footer tags, the section tags are yet to known. We are yet to learn them, and aside can even have its own header, and aside can even have its own footer. So let me decorate your section now. If I go to your section, and section has something which is very interesting. As I already said, that anything inside the website is something that you have written. The content can be image, it can be a video, or it can be also some text that you have written. Alright, you get news, you can watch electronic media, or you can go to the website and read the news as well. So section, what fits best inside section is article. So this is called as an article tag. Right, what is an article? Article is the content that you write and put inside a particular section, right? For example, if I tell you that you have a home, right? So for example, this is your home, okay? And let us consider this to be your home, right? So you first design it, right? This is the washroom, right? And this is the bedroom here, and then the drawing room, then the kitchen, and every single thing that you design first, right? And what we are doing here, right? We are also only laying down the foundation of design, not designing it practically. We're not using bricks, we're just laying down the foundation of a website, right? And then we will see why do we use these article tags and why do we use these sections. You'll come to know only when the positioning in CSS will happen. But just you have to remember, a section can have article, right? An aside is meant to be a sidebar, a navigation is meant to be a menu bar, and footer is always there. Header and footer is always there with the website. We'll also see how to make those common, right? Because I don't want the header and footer to repeat in each and every page. We'll see that in concurrent classes, inshallah. You need to be patient, right? And an article can have H tags. So for example, H1 is here, so we can say title of this article, and I can close sorry, I can close H1 here, and I can have H2, right? And I can have so subtitle of this article, right? And I can have H. Now for example, if you are having more than one, it's always, if you are having more than one title, so it's always better that what we do, what we designers do in HTML, use group. Use H group. Alright, when we use H group right here, so it already tells the browser, right, or already tells first the article, the parent is section, the sub or we can say the subchild is article. Article itself has a child H group, and H group has two children here, H1 and H2. You can even put all the headings in a single group. H group stands for heading group, right? So if you have more than one, you can straightforward put them in. It's preferable even if you do not, so it's not going to cause any problems, but yeah, it's preferable that you put them in. So we can say, now let's say about H4 is there, or maybe H3 is there. H2 is not closed, so I'll close it, otherwise it is going to override the entire div. So we can say description about this article goes here, right? So now this is our section, and section has article. So this is the article, subtitle, and the description of the article, and this is your sidebar, right? And still it looks like everything is same, right? So it's no fun showing you this way, but yeah, unless you become familiar with every single thing here, so you're not going to get it. So right, so you just have to be patient and practice as I say, right? And let me show you a bit of, because it will be too boring if I show you only HTML without any CSS. So there are now a few CSS rules, for example. Now, okay, so I hope you've understood these things. Let me do one thing. Let me delete it all first for you. Okay, let me keep header and footer only, for example. Okay, so now we have only header and footer. Let me give h3 tag right here in the header. Okay, welcome to HTML5 web designing. Okay, that's absolutely fine. So let me have it here. Okay, let me go inside the body section, and let me have a paragraph. Hello all, what is up? Or we can say, what's up? Everything is up. God is up, we are down, isn't it? Alright, so hello. Okay, these stray dogs have made my life hell. I don't know what makes them bark the entire day. Where do they get their food from? They keep on barking, like anything. They have no fear of COVID, right? So they have no fear of COVID-19 without fear. And we are, they're fearless animals, and we are fearful animals locked down at homes. Okay, let's carry on with this, since they might have heard me. So they have stopped barking, shut it up. Okay, now let's say hello all, what's up? Hope you all are learning HTML5. Alright, so let me copy once again. Right, it is going to be right, it's going to be something, I don't know. So because I don't have any content, because content will only come when once I decide the category of the website. So since I don't know, I'm teaching you guys, so you're already aware of paragraphs, so I don't have to tell you, right? So these are 3 paragraphs right here. Let me create a bit of space here, so I'll give 3 break lines. BR means break line, 3 enter keys. It's as good as pressing 3 enter keys, right? So now we have in between, we have this paragraph, right? Okay, so now let me try. Okay, now this is the paragraph. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. So let me open my CSS, since we have only seen one tag, which is the body tag right here. Okay, let's carry on. For example, I can give this paragraph an ID. ID, you have a name. Why do you have name? So that we can call you. Why do I give ID? So that I can recognize which paragraph I have to call. So let's say about my para, right? So I call this as my para. Now how do you call this div inside CSS? That is my question. Now I can say hash and the name my para, right? Hash means you're calling an ID, right? You can say color red, right? indent it properly. Learn indentation right from the beginning so that you get familiar. Color red. Now color means foreground color, right, not the background color, right? So color red, I can open and see the color is of red. And second thing, I can say background dash color, that you have already seen how to set background color. Now the background color is red, and you can also say color white. When the background color is red, the foreground color should be white. But well, that's not my duty anyways. Color red. And now let us see the magic of HTML3. Now what you have seen, simple, HTML2. So let's see new features of HTML3, and let's see how do we do magic, right? So we have to understand that, right? So let's see attribute selection. So I'll write it down here, attribute selection. So for example, okay, let's not see attribute selection first. Let me show you class. For example, now it is not the ID but the class. Class is also the name given, right? I'm not going to go to the theoretical of it and too deep into it, because you'll not understand why class and why ID. But what I want you to understand, that hash is used to call ID. I repeat, hash is used, we prefix hash before the ID or the class given, right? Only because to tell the CSS that hey, this is an ID. Hash is used to call IDs, right? So you can see this right here. Since the paragraph has now the class. Earlier it had ID, I used hash. Now it has class, and it is not going to impact and affect this. Now see, it's not affecting. Now how do you make sure that this gets a red color? Right here. And to do that, we have to call class instead of ID. So I'll put a dot here. Dot means I'm calling class, not ID. I repeat, dot means class, hash means ID, carry on. And you can see the color is red right here, right? And now coming back, as I earlier said, coming back to attribute selectors. Now we have something known as attribute selectors. For example, if I give name and I don't give any name at all, let's say I'm not giving any name at all here, right? And I want this to be executed. So no name given, nothing happens, right? So now we have something in CSS3 known as attribute selectors. Now attribute selectors, basically they deal directly with the type of the container. What is the type of the container here? The type of the container is paragraph. So now I will target P. P means paragraph container. I'm directly targeting, and I can say any paragraph with the attribute name. I repeat, any paragraph with attribute name should have color as red. Since I have not given any name, now anything in square braces is attribute, right? So paragraph can have many attributes. ID is an attribute, right? Class is an attribute, right? Name is an attribute, and we have many attributes. And now we use attribute selectors for doing different things. So now any paragraph, P means paragraph, any paragraph which has name, set the color to red. Since we have not given any specific name, but yeah, you can see it has affected it, right? Any paragraph with names. Let's say this paragraph does not have name, and now the last paragraph has name, but the name has not been set yet. So now I can see the last one is red. These are known as attribute selectors in CSS3, right? Any paragraph with name attribute will be affected. Alright, so let me see now. Let me have different names here. So let's say this paragraph has a name. This paragraph has a name, right? So let me have this, let's say about any name. So we'll try and give few names right here, right? So for the data, right? For the data, so it's data, right? Only data, nothing else. And that's just stupid names I'm giving, so I don't know, but yeah, it's basically you're sensible enough to understand that name can be anything. But since I do not have any specific name because I don't know the category of website I'm developing and designing since, right? So, but yeah, it's good to make you guys understand so you can understand this way. Okay, now attribute selectors, we have name for the data, only data and nothing else. Okay, only data, nothing else. Okay, so these are the names. So let's say about I have to use some wildcards. You understand wildcards? Or regular expressions, you may call them. So for example, if I call para P, I'm calling all the paragraph. If I say P and I say color red, so I'm targeting all the paragraphs. All the paragraphs will be red, so that's not my job here. I say paragraph, target paragraph, but target a specific paragraph. Okay, let me do this again. And target, let me have attribute selectors here. Target name, and where name is equal to data. All right, beta, data. Okay, and color. Why am I using red always? So let's use green. Okay, now I'm targeting specific here since all three have names. Now if I say only paragraph with attribute name, set color green, so all are going to go green. But now I'm targeting a specific, right? Which is that specific? Okay, you can see all are green. So I'm targeting a specific name, which is data. Now you can see it is data only that is going to be green right here. Right, beta? Okay. Now what else? What else? Okay, we have another thing. So I will say name not. I will use this not sign. It's a kind of weird sign, but yeah, you can hit the shift button and shift and 6 will print this. I'll say set the color green only if it prefixes, right? Only if you find data at the beginning, right? So for example, let's call this data something. Right, so now we have for the data is coming in the end, data something, data is coming at the beginning, only data, nothing else, and data is coming in between. Right, so data is in between, data is at the start and at the end here, right? So now once I use attribute selector data, that means only the section or the paragraph, right, whose attribute name starts with data, not ends with. So, okay, say prefixes data. Right, so you can see, hope you are all learning HTML5 is green. Now, why is it green? Could you please tell me? Because you can see data is starting here. Now, you can see here, hope you are all learning HTML5 begins, the name of attribute begins with data here. So this is how the not have. What do you call them? Call them wildcards or call them regular expressions. You can call them anything. All right. So okay, ands. Okay, ands. I forgot. Let's say dollar. So now when I hit dollar, so dollar means all those paragraphs. You can. It's not necessary to be a paragraph. Let's say about it's not a paragraph. It's a div. So it can be anything as long as you specify the name correctly. So the paragraph whose name ends with data. So hello all, what's up ends with data, right? So now let us see whether that gets green. Yeah, right. So it's affecting nicely. Sorry, I don't know. I feel like having cough. Maybe the fear effect, the fear funda is, taking best out of us these days. Okay, let's concentrate on HTML5. Okay, now what we have seen suffix, which is end of an attribute name equals to data, and we have seen not, where an attribute name starts with data. Okay, and we have all, we can say let me say anywhere. Okay, now third is anywhere. It doesn't matter wherever it is, you find it and do it. So I can use star right here. Star means anywhere. Okay, wherever data is found, you can see data is here also, data is here in the attribute name, and data is here in the attribute name. Can you see that? Data is here at the beginning, data is here in the end. Now, for example, if I get rid of this data, there's only dat. Will this impact? No, this is not going to affect, right? So because it needs to find the exact word data. Unless it finds it, it's not going to do anything right here. All right, so this is all. All means anywhere. The attribute name equals data, color that green, and dollar means if the attribute name ends with data here, and not means it begins with data. I hope you've understood this. Right? If not, then repeat the lecture and try practicing it again. You are inshallah going to learn. Let's say about now we have something like this is the new section. Let me keep it like this. So I'll say H2. So this is the news and notifications section of a university website that you are developing. Okay, so this is the news and notification section of a university that you are developing, and it may have as many newses as you want, maybe 10, maybe 15, who knows, but yeah, it may have many notifications that you have to scroll and show, right? So having the same color, it's defined in the in color combinations or color coding. You will learn it. It's already defined that you cannot keep same colors. Let me have some different text here. Hope you are confident enough, right, to learn. All those who learn, all those who do not study but learn, learners often taste success, right? Education is always, right, useful under any circumstance. And where do I get these words from? Good, I'm a writer. I should give up on classes and start writing book, because I may end up inventing something or whatever. Now what I say that you are not having readability, having all of the same color will impact the readability of the news and notification section, right? And to cope up with that, what I got to do is, it doesn't matter now what the name is, right? So I'll keep it same, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going to target that. Let's say the name is same, so I'll say all are having same name, data, right? Beta. So this is data, this is data. Why? You'll just come to know. Right? Because you have to find ways out of using HTML3, and you should get familiar, and you should not only be familiar, you should love HTML. All those are not only HTML, you should love CSS3. All those who would love the feature that I'm about to show, please comment I love CSS3. I repeat, all those, I'm not forcing anyone, all those who love, please comment I love CSS3, right? So let me carry on with this, and now I'm going to show you the job nth, right? So this is nth, you know, you already know math, the other, right? So I use paragraph, which in my case, again, I'm having paragraph. Is it necessary that you can do these things with only paragraph? No, there can be anything, an aside, an article, header, div, any type of container you can use. Okay, now so let me target, and I say this nth child. Now nth child, so this is the parent, and the nth child is, let's say about nth child of the parent, 1, 2, 3, because the parent is already the no parent is here because it's inside the body. The body itself is the parent. And child means 0, 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me have third one. And child third. That means the third paragraph. You count paragraphs 1, 2, and third paragraph, right? And set the color to green, right? So the nth child third will be as that of color green, and it's not because it's my mistake. Why? Because I don't know the mistake that I have made. Let me go through this again. Paragraph nth child all having same name, or maybe class. Let me not have name, but it's not going to impact much whether you have name or you do not have. So because we are not targeting it, right? So yeah, but class makes sense. Always remember, whenever you have to give common a name, don't give ID, don't give name. Common is basically always class, right? It's always class name that is meant to be common in any sort of design, right? Attribute selectors. Let me see what went wrong. So P paragraph and NTHCHILD number 3 is going to take color green. Maybe class has to be common here. Okay, it's still not taking it. So I suppose I have done some kind of mistake that I'm not aware of. Okay, the paragraph opens here, it closes here, closes. How many do it? 1, 2, 3. The third nth child is being targeted here. I don't know what is the problem here. Okay, see, paragraph NTH dash CHILD. Let me see this one, ODD. Okay, and let me see whether this odd works or not. Yeah, odd is working. Okay, I'll just define odd after this. But why isn't this working? Right, so it should work. And child 4, right? The color has green. Because maybe it does not have any container. Let me create a div. ID is equal to parent. Whatever you basically, I just had this thing in mind because this is now supposed to be the parent, and the first element of the parent here is this paragraph 1, paragraph 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have total 6 paragraphs. And let me see. Yeah, now it requires a parent. Only when you try, will you get exceptions and errors, and when you get exceptions and errors, you will search for them. Not like you'll give up. Okay, it's not happening, sir. You'll give me a call and post it over Facebook or maybe over Twitter or maybe over WhatsApp. Sir, it's not working. Please provide solutions. You'll not try and use your own brain because we are using child. Paragraph is the nth child, but how can you target child when it has no parent? That's why it's not necessary that I named it parent. It can be anything. Name can be anything. ID can be anything. ABC. It doesn't matter, right? So now you can see nth child 1, 2, 3. Nth child third, fourth has been targeted. Yeah. In our case, it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay. 1 is this. 2 is this. 3 is this. And a home. Okay. Home, you are confident. What is home? I don't know. You are confident enough to learn. So are you confident enough to learn? Yeah, are you confident enough to learn? Actually, it's the third element, 1, 2, 3. But yeah, as you can see, it already has news and notifications. I'll take it out. Now the parent div has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 P's, 6 paragraphs, and everyone is being taken as a parent, child of ABC class. So that's why I said N4. Fourth is now 1, 2, 3, 4. All those who do not study but learn should get green. All those who do not study but learn. Now this is again the nth child work, but as I have shown you earlier, I don't like this. I like this one, odd. I want every odd, you can see every odd paragraph is now green. Now it increases readability, and if I do not give you this option of using nth child, what you have to do, you'll be setting up ID or class to every single div, right? And you'll be manually mentioning the color of the div. So that means you have to import all the divs in CSS, and then after importing them in CSS, you have to manually mention color green. But a single line of code, this is why we love HTML5. This is something new in CSS3. That's why I said comment I love CSS3, because otherwise dynamic, if let's say about this is coming from database and it changes every second, right? How can you program it? How can you basically define odd and even color combinations for that? We cannot only define odd, we can also define even here. So let's say even is equivalent to blue. So if I say even is equivalent to blue, okay, now you can see every odd and even is working fine. So it doesn't matter how many divs you have, how many paragraphs you have, right? So I'm going to increase them and show you, right? So you can see every odd and even is getting the color by using the CSS magic and right. So I suppose you've understood this. What it requires is a lot of practice. So let me show you now styling the section. So let me see the time it's been. Okay, it's already 46 minutes. I don't want you guys to download big videos, and since again my dogs are having cardiac arrest, I may have to call municipality. Well, municipality these days is quite busy in spraying everything else, disinfecting asties, and I'll have to take care of dogs myself. Maybe deliver a nice HTML5 lecture to dogs. What do you say, guys? Let me know in the comment section. Bye bye, take care.